Farm Renovator demo is a simulation and management game where you take on the role of a farm owner tasked with turning an abandoned, rundown American farm into a thriving business. In the demo version, you get a taste of the full game's core mechanics: renovating buildings, taking care of basic operations, and interacting with customers. The demo includes several key tasks that introduce you to the game's renovation and management loop. Renovating your first building. Fix up the initial structure on the property. Chicken coop repair. Restore basic animal housing to begin production. Using 7 different tools, mow grass, cut trees, and handle other maintenance tasks. Customer service. Interact with customers who come to your farm or store. Selling products such as eggs in your store to earn funds. A short story for you while you watch. Emma Hayes used to measure her life in deadlines. Campaign launches. Quarterly reports. Client presentations. Her apartment overlooked a skyline of glass and steel, and every morning began the same way. The hum of traffic below. The glow of her phone lighting up with emails before her feet even touched the floor. She had worked hard to build that life, and from the outside it looked successful. But some nights, when the city finally quieted, she would close her laptop and think about something entirely different. Fields. Warm summer air. The smell of hay drifting through open windows. As a child, Emma had spent every summer at her grandparents' farm. It wasn't large or famous, just a modest stretch of land wrapped around a white farmhouse with a red barn standing proudly behind it. She remembered running barefoot through grass taller than her knees. She remembered her grandfather's steady laugh and her grandmother's hands, always busy, kneading dough, planting seedlings, mending fences. Back then, life felt slow in the best way. When college came, then career opportunities, she promised she'd visit more often. But visits became shorter, then occasional, then rare. And then one autumn afternoon, she received the call. Her grandmother was gone. The farm, the lawyer explained gently, had been left to her. Emma didn't know how to feel. Grief blurred everything. For weeks she stayed in the city, throwing herself into work because work was familiar, predictable, manageable. But the thought of the farm lingered. Finally, she took time off and drove out to the countryside. The road felt smaller than she remembered, the trees taller, the air quieter. When the farmhouse came into view, her breath caught. Time had not been kind. The once bright red barn had dulled and peeled. The fence posts leaned at tired angles. Windows were dusty, some cracked. The fields were swallowed by weeds that swayed like an untamed sea. The place felt forgotten. Emma stepped out of her car slowly. The gravel crunched under her shoes. For a moment, she saw flashes of memory layered over the present. A younger version of herself running across that same yard, laughter echoing between the buildings. The silence now felt heavier. She almost called a realtor. It would be practical. Sell it. Use the money wisely. Return to her real life. But then she stepped outside again and listened. No car horns. No ringing phones. Just wind moving gently through grass. A distant bird call. The quiet creak of the barn door shifting in the breeze. And something inside her softened. For the first time in years, she wasn't rushing. That night, she slept in her childhood bedroom. The mattress was old, the room bare, but the darkness felt calm instead of lonely. When morning came, sunlight spilled through the curtains, and Emma woke not to an alarm, but to birdsong. That was the moment she knew. 2 weeks later, she handed in her resignation. Her coworkers were stunned. Her friends thought she was having a breakdown. Some called it brave. Others called it reckless. Emma wasn't sure which it was. The first months were harder than she imagined. She underestimated how much work the land needed. Clearing weeds left her arms trembling. Repairing the barn roof required skills she had to learn from scratch. Watching tutorials late into the night. Calling local contractors for advice. Making mistakes and fixing them again. Money became tight. She budgeted carefully. Every purchase mattered. There were days she cried in frustration. Sitting on the farmhouse steps, staring at a broken piece of machinery she didn't know how to fix. But there were victories too. The first time she repaired a fence and watched it stand firm against the wind. The first chicken she carefully introduced to the restored coop. The first egg she held in her palm, small, warm, and possibly perfect. She built a modest farm stand near the road. Just a wooden table at first, then a painted sign. Fresh eggs and homemade jam. The first customer was an elderly neighbor who remembered her grandparents. He bought a dozen eggs and told her, "Your grandmother would be proud." Emma cried after he left. Seasons passed. Spring brought green shoots pushing stubbornly through soil she had tilled herself. Summer filled the fields with gold. Autumn wrapped the farm in amber light. Winter tested her resolve. Frozen pipes, icy winds, quiet nights that felt endless. But she stayed, and slowly the farm changed. The barn was repainted, the porch repaired and decorated with hanging plants. Inside the farmhouse she restored warmth, wooden floors polished, curtains sewn by hand, shelves lined with jars of preserves. Customers began returning regularly. Word spread. The farm wasn't just functioning, it was thriving. But what surprised Emma most wasn't the success. It was herself. She no longer checked her phone obsessively. She no longer felt the constant hum of pressure in her chest. Her hands grew stronger. Her thoughts grew quieter. One evening, nearly 2 years after she'd arrived, Emma stood on the porch watching the sun sink below the fields. The sky glowed in soft shades of orange and pink. Chickens settled into their coop. Fireflies flickered just like they had when she was a child. The farm no longer looked abandoned. It looked alive. And so did she. She realized then that she hadn't simply inherited land. She had inherited a chance to return to something real, to build something lasting, to choose a life shaped by patience instead of pressure. The city had given her ambition. The farm gave her belonging. As the last light faded, Emma smiled softly. The farm that once held her childhood now held her future. And this time she wasn't visiting. She was home. This game is free to play on Steam and lets you see if you enjoy the theme and mechanics before the full release.